So for today's chemistry, we are going to discuss chapter 3, the MCQs lah, 10 questions. And then the structure questions we'll be discussing during class lor. Okay, so number 1, the table shows electronic configuration of two elements. Okay, they give you X and Y. Okay, notice that the last number of X is 2, Y is 7. So this means that X is in group 2. Y is in group 7. Okay, so the valency of X is, I write here lah, valency. X should be 2, Y should be 1, because for group 2, they need to donate 2 electrons to achieve the stable noble gas electronic configuration while Y, group 7, they need to receive 1. So the valency is 1 lah. Okay, so to form the formula X, Y, you always put the metal at the front there. So this one valency is 2, this one is 1. Cross, you will get X, Y, 2 as your answer. So the answer should be boil. Okay, for number 2, atom R is a metal that has a valency 1. So R, valency 1. T, valency 2. What is the chemical formula? So R is metal so always metal comes first. T is not metal, metal will be after metal So R, T. R valency 1, T valency 2. Cross R, 2, T. So C will be your answer. Okay. So number 1 and number 2, they are just asking you to form the chemical formula lah. Okay. Number 3. Which equation is balanced? For balance means the left hand side and the right hand side the same element must have the same amount of atom lah. So let's see. This one 1. Here also 1. Correct lah. Balance. But Cl here got 2. Here got 1 only. So we have to balance it by multiplying Na and NaCl by 2. And then after that you will get 2Na, here also 2Na. 2Cl, 2Cl. Okay, let's look at B. 2Zn, 2Zn, correct. 2S, 2S, correct. 2O, here 2, and then 2 times 2, 4. In total here we have 6O. So here only got 2. So I have to multiply here by 3 to make it balance. Okay, let's look at C. 2Zn, 2Zn, correct. Ag, 1Ag, 1Ag, correct. And then let's see NO3, 1 NO3, 2 NO3, here 2 times 2. So not balanced already. So you have to multiply this one. This one. You should be removing these 2. Then you get 1Zn, 1Zn, and then 1 NO2, 1 NO2. Okay. So let's look at D. 2H, 2H. 2Cl, 2Cl. 1Ca, 1Ca. 1C, 1C. 3O, 1, 2, 3. So D is the correct answer because D is balanced. Okay. Let's look at number 4. Which sentence below is not true? Relative atomic mass is the average mass of the isotopes, okay, of an element compared to 1/12 of the mass of an atom of carbon-12. This one is correct lah, because this one is basically the definition of the relative atomic mass. Okay, relative molecular mass is the sum of the relative atomic mass. Correct also? Okay. So A correct, B correct. Relative formula mass is the sum of relative atomic mass. Actually still the same lah, because molecular and formula is more or less the same. When we write a chemical formula, it's basically just the molecule, but some of them it's not the molecule. Because molecule is consists of non-metal and non-metal ma. So this one formula they included the ionic compounds also. So this one is still correct. Let's look at D. Relative atomic mass is the mass of an element on scale where this one is exactly 12 units. This one wrong lah, because they compared with this one is correct, this part. Exactly 12 units correct. But this one this part wrong. Mass of an element. This one you have to write the average mass of naturally occurring atoms of an element. Or you can say the average mass of the isotopes lah. But however, D is not true, so D is the answer. Okay, let's look at number 5. How many moles of gas are produced when 1 mole of 1 mole of magnesium carbonate reacts with excess hydrochloric acid? So, magnesium carbonate, Mg, we know that it's Mg2 plus lah. Carbonate, CO3 2 minus. So when you cross them, you will get MgCO3, because 2 plus 2 minus cancel out each other. So MgCO3 plus with hydrochloric acid is HCl, and then they will form MgCl. Because this one is carbonate ma, this one is actually, when you relate back to chapter 7 lah, this one is base, this one is acid ma. So they will form salt law, and then plus with, when CO3 they confirm they will have CO2, and then H2O lah. So this one when you balance it, you have to add 2 over here. So how many moles of gas produced? Gas is, in this case, is the carbon dioxide lo. So 1 mole, if here is 1 mole, here also 1 mole ma. So the answer is boil lo. Let's look at number 6. When 4.8 gram of calcium is added to 3.6 gram of water, calcium hydroxide and hydrogen are formed. Maximum mass of calcium hydroxide. So first things first, when you see this kind of questions, you write down the chemical formula, chemical equation first. So calcium hydroxide is calcium lah. calcium plus water H2O form calcium hydroxide CaOH2 plus hydrogen. And then try to balance it first. Add 2 over here lor. Okay, relative atomic mass of calcium is actually 40. Relative molecular mass of water is actually 18 lah, because 1 and then this one is 16 ma. Okay, number of moles of calcium. Normally I'll use this equation for this symbol for number of moles lah. Okay, this one is 4.8 over 40. When you press calculator, you should get 0.12 mole. And then number of mole of water, 3.6 over 18. This one you get, and then because there's 2 moles ma, so you times 2 lah. So this one you should get 0.1 mole. And then because 1 mole, 2 mole ma, so by right if the calcium is 0.12 as here, number of moles of water should be 0.24 lah. So we know that calcium is in excess. So we use this one for calculation lor, water. So okay, never mind. This one is, you can straight away use over 18. So 0.2 mole. And then after that, when this one is 0.2 mole, maximum for calcium is actually this one should be 0.1 mole. Okay, so and then after that we have to do this kind of thing called as the mole ratio lah. So calcium hydroxide ma, so when we use calcium and then to calcium hydroxide, this one is 1 mole to 1 mole, and then in this case it's 0.1 ma, so when we find the maximum mass, means the mass lah, of calcium hydroxide, we should use 0.1 mole multiply with the molecular relative formula mass. So it's 40 plus 2 times OH, 16 plus 1, and then 0.1 multiplied with 74, you should get 7.4 gram as your answer. So the answer should be A. Number 7, chromium 3 oxide, CrO3, is formed when 26 gram of chromium, Cr, reacted with 8 gram of oxygen gas, O2 lah. What is the mass of the Cr2O3 produced? So this one, write down the formula first lah. Cr plus O2 and then Cr2O3. So this one O3 ma, here O2 ma, so you cross multiply. This one 3, this one 2, and then 2 times 2, 4 Cr. Here only got 1, so you multiply by 4, and then this equation is balanced already. After that, do mole ratio lah. Wait. you can use either one, but I prefer to use chromium lah because 4 to 2 ma, easier. So this one number of moles of chromium, 26 over the relative atomic mass, so 52. This one you should get 0.5 mole. And then when they give you both, it's actually better to count the number of moles for both lah. So oxygen also, this one should be 8 over 32 because 2 times 16. So this one you should get 0.25 mole. But the mole ratio should be 4 to 3. So we know that oxygen is in excess law. Because 0.5 mole, if you multiply with 3 over 4, you should get something about 0.375 mole. So oh no, so this one should be the excess law. This one is the limiting. And then we use oxygen law. So 3 moles of will form 2 moles of Cr2O3. So 0.25 mole of O2 will form here how many moles? So this one you use the 0.25 divide by 3 multiplied by 2 mole of Cr2O3. In the end, you should get this one as 0.167 mole. So mass of Cr2O3, we use the number of mole multiplied with the molar relative molecular mass ma. So this one number of moles should be 0.167 multiplied with 152 lah when you calculate it in total. And then your final answer should be 25.384 gram. When you round up, you should get 25.4 gram. So A will be the answer. Okay, last 3 questions. A solution of hydrochloric acid is titrated against a standard solution of sodium hydroxide solution. And then 25 cm, okay, 25 cm cube is the volume, and then 0.1 mole per dm cube is the concentration. Neutralize the 20 cm cube of acid. And then what is the mass of salt? So this one hydrochloric acid plus sodium hydroxide, NaOH, they will form NaCl plus H2O lah. Because this one is the neutralization acid plus alkali, they will form salt and water. So they give you the number of moles of because this one by right the number of moles of the NaOH is the same as hydrochloric acid law. So number of moles of is actually volume times molarity or concentration 0.1 over 1000. This one you should get 0.0025 mole as your answer. And then we know that this one, when we do the mole ratio, it should be the same because 1 mole of NaOH, they will produce 1 mole of NaCl, means the salt. So when the number of moles is 0.0025, the number of moles also should be the same for NaCl. So mass of NaCl equals to 0.0025 multiplied with the relative formula mass for NaCl. So this one should be 58.5 if you add them together. And then press calculator, you should get 0.146 gram as your final answer. So your final answer should be A. Okay, so we have done for the first page now. Let's look at the second page. What is the number of ions produced when 1.7 gram of NaNO3 dissolves completely in water? So number, when we are counting number of something, you always use Avogadro constant means 6.02 multiplied with 10 to the power of 23. So number of ions, how many ions are there over here first? 1, 2. So 2 ions per compound, per particles. So this one, we try to find the number of mole first. So the mass should be number of moles multiplied with the relative formula mass. So this one, relative formula mass of NaNO3 is 85. So number of moles should be 1.7 divided by 85. So you should get 0.02 mole. So the number of ions in this one should be 0.0 the number of moles multiplied with number of ions in per particles. So 2 multiplied with 6.02 times 10 to the power of 23. 0.02 times 2, you get 0.04. And then this one you just copy down. So your answer should be donkey. Number 10. How many positive ions are formed when 1 mole of lithium phosphate dissolves completely in water? When they dissolve completely in water, means they ionize. Means they become ions. So Li3PO4, when they become ions, Li will become Li plus and then this one 3 PO4 negative 3. This is the formula, the equation. And then they want positive ions. So for positive ions, means here this one only So this one we use 3 moles here, and then multiply with 6.02 times 10 to the power of 33, and then press calculator. You should get 1.806 times 10 to the power of 24 ions as your final answer. Okay, so we have finally done the 10 questions. So this one, you have in this chapter, you will have to know how to count the number of moles, the mass, and then from this one to this one, you have to know how to do mole ratio. And then you have to know how to find the number of atoms or particles or molecules or ions. And then what else? Need to form chemical formula. Know how to balance equation. So far that's all for today lah. This video, and I'll see you in the next video.